Hey guys, it's Chris and Hannah with the Business with Benefits podcast. We are here today. It's been a little while since our last episode.
Like a long while.
A long while.
Yeah, very long while.
So-
Sorry about that.
So it's interesting, where to go. So first of all, Merry Christmas, right? Merry Christmas. We're gonna start with some positivity up in here.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Right? And so we're doing this podcast, or this episode, whatever you want to call this thing. We're doing this today because ultimately, so I'm going to say it like this. I'm looking at this, it's kind of self-serving because, and I think every relationship struggles with this. We're going through basically a 2-week fight. You know, I'm like, I don't want to. But we're basically coming out of a 2-week, like just probably a worse fight than most people.
Not really fight, just
Not
like
a
sort
fight.
of this contempt.
Like coldness.
Yeah,
and
like not
contempt
talking to
and
each
don't
other,
wanna be in the same
don't want to be in the same room, no
and
eye contact, the things.
Don't want to like touch each other in bed, like roll,
Or
sleep on the
really.
other side of bed.
Don't touch me. Yeah, anywhere, really.
Really? How do you really feel?
We're getting through this slump.
We're
coming out the other side.
So the question is, what do you do, right? So we're lucky enough to have this platform to come on and make light of it, right? To a certain extent. But what do you do when so let me I'll give my side and then she can kind of give her perspective.
This is going to be interesting.
Well, no, it's very simple. It's a lot of things are going on, a lot of stresses in our lives. Obviously we have Christmas coming up. We just got through Thanksgiving, family stuff, preparing for Christmas, all that stuff.
Which we're hosting both of the holidays, by the way.
Yep.
With 3 kids.
Awesome.
Lots of family.
Yes. And so she loves family. So we're dealing with that. But then on top of that, you've probably seen on the Life 180 channel, if you watch, we're launching a new agency. I brought on 4 business partners. We're doing a lot of stuff to grow that. And so she'll tell you I'm in like work mode, go time constantly. How do you really feel?
I know. You have to see the look on the face, I suppose.
Well,
I forget we have listeners instead.
Yes.
The eye roll is real, y'all.
But
the eye roll is real.
But that's only one thing. Like one of the things with Life 180 is I've got a lot of business partners that are doing a lot of the lifting and I wouldn't be able to do it. On the other side that you guys don't see a lot of, I have another company called America Unlimited that I'm the president of and we're launching and I'm spending a ton of time on and I'm dealing with crazy amounts of stuff, like building the details don't matter. It's taking a lot of time.
It's
and
startup.
It's startup and it's grind.
And it's startup
there's
again
a lot
for
of
Life 180.
responsibility. And it's startup for Life 180. And so between the two, ultimately,
2 startups, I'm for fun.
I'm working a lot, and it's an interesting phase of life to be back in. It's been a while since we've been living this type of schedule. And then on the flip side, right, Hannah, Mrs. American, is preparing for Mrs. World. And that is coming up in January. So right after the holidays, January 9th, she actually has to leave for Mrs. World. And so I'm here and I'm trying to build my businesses and she's there focusing on what she needs to do. And so I think what's happened is like we both, and I think a lot of couples have this happen, it's like you just kind of both start to separate, and the more you're focused on your own thing and not checking in and not trying to be there to support each other, be present, or like, I don't know, like make yourself available, right? The easier it is to kind of separate. And when you separate, resentment builds. And if that goes unaddressed, it gets worse. And then, other situations happen and it, little things, the straw that broke the camel's back kind of thing, right? Like bad situations come out of very small circumstances or instances, right? And so, I don't know, like I guess in the past, and I'll just own this, in the past, I think you would say that I've always been really, really good about being present for you, being available for you and helping, be supportive. And right now, because I was so absorbed in what I'm doing, I went through a couple week period where that wasn't so much the case.
He's admitting this. He's admitting it out loud. This is great.
So that said, I have to own that, and I did, and I haven't I? Yes.
Thank you. We had a conversation finally. Was it just last night or the night before?
A couple nights ago.
Yeah, and we finally had a conversation about it, where I told him those things and what I needed and how I felt that he wasn't present. And I was really proud of him for building businesses, and startups are great when you're in your 20s. But it's harder.
Startups are great always.
Yeah, no, not always.
Fun.
Yeah, but it's harder when you have a family. And then the responsibilities of the family have just sort of silently, with this unspoken expectation, fallen completely on me. And I'm preparing for the largest goal of my entire life. Literally, I've been working for 24 years toward this goal. And all of a sudden now it's like, oh, but the household things, the preparing for Christmas, all of it is just unspokenly dumped on me. And my husband is not present. Like, he's off building these businesses. And this is why we call it business with benefits, y'all. Like, yes, I'm an entrepreneur in my own right. I'm an entrepreneur wife because I get the grind. I get the roller coaster. I get the risk taking. I get the commitment that needs to go into this. And I'm also human. And I'm also a woman. And so as much as I always like joke around and we say, I'm more of the stereotypical guy a lot of times in the relationship because I'm the one who sort of shuts down. I'm the one who recoils. I think of the world in more of a black and white, and you see all of the beautiful shades of gray with interpersonal things and relationships and all that stuff. But in this particular case, I guess I sort of have slipped into this place of like, I kind of just want to be taken care of. Like, I want to feel supported. I want to be championed right now and not feel like Cinderella. I want to feel like I'm entering this as a queen and not Cinderella. And you have been in your genius, in your brilliance zone in these two startups, and not even realizing that every day I was becoming more and more and more resentful, even though I'm your biggest champion and I want you to succeed, and I do everything in my power to help you to succeed.
So there's, and then...
So that's what's been going down, y'all. That's Kirkpatrick house in the last 2 weeks.
So I'll go here with this too. So when she told me that, my instant reaction, straight up, was, I've been here the whole time. It's not that I didn't notice. It's that if you needed my help, I'm always available.
And
right?
Wait. But you should have come to me.
You need to ask.
You blamed it on me.
No. Yes, it wasn't a blame thing. It's that
you need to ask.
Well, and I'll still stand by that, by the way.
I thought you were going to soften and say, you know what, it was my job to check in with her and to ask how she was doing.
So I'll stand by it from both sides of it, right? Like, so here's what I'll say to that from and this is just my opinion, obviously, on how this, like, how either one, it doesn't really matter, right, whose fault it was, whether it was her fault or she should have asked me or if I should have checked in. The way I look at it is, if we go through our 20-year history together, there are times where she should have, I should have, we both, like, it doesn't matter. It's like if you're both looking after the relationship, one of you has to step up. And if the other one's not doing it, then the other one needs to do it. So like if I'm failing, and this is kind of where I was coming from, not like, hey, you should have told me, it's your fault. It's like, I own the fact that I screwed up. And when I get lost like that, you know that there's nothing in the world more important than you. You know that I will be there for you. And I need you to call me and ask me. And that was where I was coming from. That said, it's not an excuse. I shouldn't have, it was my fault. Like, I was the one who screwed up. And so the biggest thing I could say is, in that situation, if people run into this, is you have to be willing to kind of own that, right? Like, so for me, like, it was my fault. Like, I was the one screwing up. I was the one being really absorbed in my two businesses. I was the one, that I genuinely thought she was just okay. Like and because, listen, you guys have seen her, like, heard her, some of you probably know her, like, she's the one who always asks what she wants for. So I've also kind of conditioned myself, like...
We know what he meant.
What's that?
She's the one who asks what she wants for. But it's cool.
Yeah, what she wants.
Yeah, it's
what
cool.
She wants.
Ask for what, yeah, this is fine.
Yeah. Yeah. And so from that perspective,
well, and so can I jump in and say that
yes.
I do have some ownership in that also. And I will admit where, I went wrong because of the fact that usually knowing, and we've talked about this on Business with Benefits before, usually knowing that I can just tap on your shoulder and go, hello, I need a date night. Hello, I need you to help with the dishes. Hello, I need some kids. Hello, I need you to hang the Christmas lights. No, I usually do those. But you know what I mean? Like, usually that's enough. And in this time, I don't even know that I realized that I needed more than what I was asking for.
Right.
And my natural inclination is to turtle.
Yep.
Like, I go into self-protection mode, and I'm like, if I'm not getting what I need from you people, I can just go inside and I can hunker down and I can find it within myself, and I have the strength, and I'll just bleep and do it. And so I go in, and then I have this hard shell that you always are like, hello, is anybody there?
Ever?
And so usually it's cool because I can ask you for what I need. I haven't been clear enough because I've felt so overwhelmed, and like this process of preparation for something as big as this for me is extremely emotional. And it pushes and challenges me in every single aspect of my being. It's like training for the Olympics, but it's emotional and it's spiritual and it's physical and it's my goals and it's my dreams, and it touches to the core of who I am and what I want my legacy to be and what's my value to the world, and am I valuable enough even if they don't like me, and how dare I step up and be so big to think that I can represent all of these people who are struggling, and who am I to do that? And I have to push through these fears, and I have to push through the self-doubts, and I have to ask God to help me to do that. And like, every day I'm breaking these massive barriers. Like, I was in the car yesterday and I put on this amazing playlist. I did some like worship stuff, and then I did this amazing playlist that was empowering and just like the guts of life, you know? And it was specifically for women, but like it was all, The Greatest Showman and like really cool stuff. And I was just crying, and I was just sobbing. And then I picked the kids up in the car, and I was like, hey guys, just want to let you know, Mama's good. I'm just processing things. Like, when life is big, it's okay to have these big emotions and okay to have these big feelings. And I'm totally under control, and I'm totally here for you. But I'm experiencing emotion. And they listened to the songs with me, and they felt the things that I was going through and processing all of it. But in that, I haven't even known like what to ask for, and then all of a sudden the Christmas stress and the dance recitals and the kids' just presentations and the gifting and all of those extra things that just naturally fall on me without you even knowing that they're occurring often. It becomes overwhelming. So I didn't ask. All of that to say that it was, yes, it would have been nice if you checked in, and you haven't. And I hear about your business updates on a daily basis. I hear them through the house. I hear them in the morning. I hear them at night. I hear them because you have business partners in our house all the time, almost. And I love the business partners. Like, if you're watching, guys, I adore you. You're amazing human beings, and I'm really, really blessed and fortunate to have you. I learned something from everyone who's here, and I hope that I can give a gift of something in exchange to everyone who is part of our life. That being said, it changes the dynamics of our relationship also, Yeah. And so I'm just like, I'm fragile and you're oblivious, and that's where we are. Like, happy holidays.
Well, so I was oblivious, right? And so and I think
that?
But I think it's like anything else. When stresses get high, when people get busy, it's easy to get absorbed in your own world. Whether it's businesses, whether it's just managing life, whether it's kind of like couples just.
And I guess that's why people say do date nights, right? That's why I'm hearing date night in my head.
Yeah.
And that's why people say schedule
the
date night.
We'll do it. So here's the bottom line.
Apparently.
Is the way I look at it.
And you can't talk about business, by the way, in the date night. You can't do it.
Okay.
They say you're not supposed to talk about business or kids in the date night. You're supposed to actually just be like two humans who like each other.
Awesome.
Yeah, and maybe even dig each other.
We could pull that off.
Maybe.
I don't know. I could dig you. I don't know if you could dig me right now.
Well, we're getting back to that. We're getting back to that.
So here's what I would just say, because she's got to go get the kids.
Nice, real nice. Thanks. Yeah.
I had to throw that in there. Here's what I would say is, like, it just comes down to communication. Like, don't let resentment build. Guys, girl, like women, like whatever side of this equation you're on. If you're the one screwing up, like, try to be more intentional about your spouse. Try to check in every day with your spouse. Like, the things, and I think I've done a pretty good job in the last day, like stepping up, like re-showing back up. Like, that's just,
you have.
And
I got really clear, and here's how it looked for us, just so it might be an example for people.
Okay.
you are really good about checking your ego at the door. And at first, when I hit you with that and I said, okay, fine, if you want to hear why I'm pissed, here's why I'm pissed. Mm-hmm. And I don't feel supported in this and this and this and da-da-da-da-da. And at first you bristled.
Yeah.
And you were like, but I support you in all these ways.
Well,
and you're like, all the man stuff about you was triggered, right? And then the next day, you softened and we started to chit chat again about it. Mm-hmm. And I reminded you of in the past when I was preparing for something, you would actually be like innately involved. And instead of saying, well, come to me if you have questions, come to me if you need anything, like a teacher or a parent would, it was more of, instead of knocking on my professor's door to get help after school.
The door's always open, by the way.
No, it's not. And if you want me to knock on your door like a professor, I'm going to treat you like a professor, and you're not going to like the rest of your day. No. All right. So yeah, we can play that game.
You're funny.
But I'm over the professor thing.
Okay.
Anyway, where were we? Oh yeah, so then you started to, once we had that conversation, you had a day to think about it, and you didn't like continue to blow up, and we didn't turn it into something bigger than it needed to be. And you checked your ego at the door, and you were like, okay, there are some things that are hurtful because I think I'm doing better in these areas than apparently you think that I do, Hannah. And that was stingy for you. Mm-hmm. And you also came at me and said, hey, guess what? I Googled the top interview questions this year in the last 6 months that have happened. And when you have time, I would love to sit down and interview you.
But I only did that because she told me that's what she was looking for, right? And in the past, she always did ask, and so.
But what's awesome is that actually is like the thing
happening.
That's bringing me back to liking you again.
But it's happening,
And that's amazing because you're taking the energy, the same energy that you would put into your business, you're taking a little piece of that and giving it to me instead and being proactive instead of waiting for me to come to you. So and that's awesome. And that's super cool.
In 19 years, 15 years of marriage and 19 years being together, you can be right or you could be happy, right? It's. And it's not right or wrong. That's the thing, is I think the biggest mistake, and we got to end on this because she really has to go, is the biggest mistake couples make, individuals inside of relationships make, is their egos get in the way and they try to die on that hill, so to speak. Yeah. And they want to be right and proving their point is the most important part and not putting the relationship first above everything.
I'm touching you again.
Look at this. You're leaning into me.
Right.
Not putting the relationship first. And good. So my mindset when she came to me at first, and still it's there's elements of it, it's okay, I understand where you're coming from. And all you had to do was ask, and it's not knocking on the professor's door. And I still feel that way. And it shouldn't have gotten to that point. Right. So, and it wouldn't have to be, hey, remember last pageant?
So what should they do?
Just be
open.
What should they
do? What's the takeaway?
Leave your ego at the door.
Check your ego.
Before you get really angry, if you're in the position she was in, before you let it get to that point, ask your spouse. Communicate with your spouse. Don't let it get to that place. Give them the opportunity to step up.
What if I don't know what my problem is?
Well, then tell me. Communicate.
I had trouble
listen,
naming
I'm upset.
I didn't know
I'm struggling. I'm frustrated. I'm not happy with you. I'm not attracted to you. I don't want to be in the same room as you. I can't put my finger on it, but I want to make this go away. Can we work together to make that better?
Can you write that down? Can I have a script for that for next time? Yes, there's your script, ladies and gentlemen.
Communicate it.
From the master professional, there's your script.
And then if you're on my side of the equation, then it's when you hear that, you got to check your ego at the door, right? You gotta let them know that they come first, and that's my only focus always, no matter what I'm doing in business, no matter what I'm doing with anything in life. She has to know that no matter what is going on, if she genuinely says, hey babe, I know you got all this going on. I know this sucks. I know it's inconvenient, but I need you. And this is why I need you. And this is what I need from you. I need to step up and be that for her. That has to be priority number one. And if it's not, and if it can't be, because sometimes it can't be, right? You have to have conversations about that and find the happy balance and then make a decision together, right? And agree on it. And if you could do that, then it's awesome. But both people's needs have to be met and they have to be communicated on and agreed upon to be able to be successful, is my take on that.
And so at least we know at this moment, looking forward that we are going to get through this, and that this is just a little teeny tiny blip.
And we're always going to get through it.
Yeah, but like we're learning something.
Yeah.
And well, I'm saying for people who are listening, like if it feels huge and the problem feels insurmountable right now, please know that it's not. Please know that it's these little things that like you can show up a little bit more humble today. And I can show up a little bit more humble. And even if I don't have the words and I'm I can still do that. And then there's a safe space and a conversation that can happen, and at least you can like struggle through the mud together-ish. Like we know we're in mud. We've been in mud for a couple of weeks, but we also know that in the end, we prioritize making sure that we get through that and we don't do anything harmful in the process. Like we don't say things that will hurt each other. We don't go out and fill our desires or our fantasies or our whatevers anywhere else with any other substances or behaviors or people or anything that would have a permanent negative connotation or negative impact on what is a temporary right now. And as an addiction advocate, recovery advocate, that's important to me to remind people, like, you can't drink your way out of this mess. You can't drug your way. You can't sex your way or gamble your way or eat your way out of the discomfort that you're feeling right now. And that's been my work also in the last couple of weeks. And so just because I've been at this game for a little while doesn't make me immune to it. I've been in the fantasy game and the escape game in the last couple of weeks, and that's been part of my problem. But I'm working through it, and I'm communicating with him, and now we're on the same page about it. And now we're kind of just laughing like, oh, here we are again. This has been a ride. And hopefully we can share the cycle with you guys to let you know that you're not alone, which is a huge thing. I never got insight into a relationship so that I could see that things are cyclical and cycle.
It's like the economy.
Yeah, it's like the economy, right? But hang in there. It doesn't mean that it needs to be an explosion. Just try to soften a little bit today from both sides, and you'll get through it. And we wish you the best. We pray for your marriage. And I need to go get the kids.
Mic drop. She's got to go.
Okay, now go talk business. Okay.
I'm out. Love you. See you guys. I guess we'll, till next video, she'll be here. We'll do a more formal thing, outro next time. But hope you guys have a blessed, inspirational day, and we'll talk to you soon.